set up to move into the other sanctuary, so we'll just pretend it's, I think I'm gonna.
Just skip Kabbalat and go right into the rest of the service.
Oh, that's right, I have a long Devar today, so maybe I should just do that. I'll talk for a half hour, how about that? And I'll say, David is the one who suggested that. Actually, it is kind of a long Devar, but I'm not wearing my jacket, it's just too darn hot.
Okay. I understand.
All right. Shabbat Shalom. Glad to see a lot of people here. This is great. This is a lot. So welcome to our service. Welcome to our Kabbalat Shabbat service. Should be a nice. It'll be a little less severe in the morning. It won't be as. Yeah. Well, in the morning it won't feel as hot. Anyway, we're going to start our service page 5 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We continue, page 11, Psalm 95. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Alechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Alechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. We continue responsively. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song.
Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands formed the earth's heat. Mountain crests too are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands.
Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai who formed us.
For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands.
If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted, like the people at Merivah, like the time at Massah, in the desert when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought.
For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my ways. So in anger I swore they would not enter my rest.
40 שנה כות בדור ואמרם טועה לבבם אביהם לא יד דרכי אשר נשבעתי ויפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Page 13. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו והגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו. כי גדול אדוני, ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא, על כה אלוהים, לי, 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 כי כה אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה. הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו. שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרות הלילה, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ. אמרו והגויים אדוני מלך, אף תקום תבל בעלתי מאוד. ידין העמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. Ayiramayamo melo Yalo Sadai Vechol asher bo lai 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 Az yiranenu kolat seyar Lifnei Adonai kiva Kiva lishbot haaretz, ishbot tevel betzedek, ve'yamim be'emunato, yalai la lai 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 la 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. We continue page 15 with Psalm 97. David, would you lead us, please?
Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice.
Clouds of thick darkness surround the divine, righteousness is justice is God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers around about.
Flashes of lightning illumine the land, the earth watches and trembles, mountains melt like the wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the master of all the earth.
The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory.
Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God.
Zion hears and rejoices, cities of Judah exalt, as you, Adonai, pass judgment.
You, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful.
Light a song for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name.
Or Zarula Tzadik will Israel Simcha, Simchu Tzadikim Badunai, Vodu Lezecher Kadisho. Thank you very much, David. Page 17. Mizmor Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash Ki niflaot asa Hoshia lo yemino Uzaro akocho adia Adonai Yeshuato Lehena goyim gilad sid kato Zachar chasta ve'amunato Levei Yisrael Rau cholav se aretz Et Yeshuat Eloheinu Horiu ladonai kol haaretz Pitzchum ve'chanenu ve'zameru Zamru ladonai bechinar ve'kol zimara Bechatzot shrod ve'kol shofar Horiu lifnei hamelech Adonai Yiramayam umaloho Tevel ve'yosh ve'eva Neharot yimcha uchaf Yachad arim yiranenu Lifnei Adonai kivo Lishbot haaretz Yishbot tevel betzedek V'yamim be'mesharim Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yai lai 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 lai. We continue page 19 with Psalm 99. Barbara, would you lead us, please?
Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake.
Adonai is great in Zion, above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, awe-inspiring Holy One.
Sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly.
Exalt Adonai our God. Bow down before God, the Holy One.
Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai our God. You were a forgiving God to them, even as you punished them for their transgressions.
Exalt Adonai our God, and bow down God's holy mountain. For Adonai our God is holy.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lahar kadisho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Thank you very much, Barbara. We rise, page 21, Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu ladonai b'nei Yelib, havu ladonai kavod vos, havu ladonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu ladonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, ela kavod irim Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et al ze halvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Livanon v'siryon kemo ven re'emim, Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yecholel Ayala, Vayechesap Yachod, Uvehechalo Kulo Merkavod, Adonai Lamabul Yashav, Yeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Os, Yamo Yiten Adonai Yevarech et Amo Vashalom. You may be seated. We continue with Lechadodi, page 23. Lechadodi lekrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikabila lecha dodi lekrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabila shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad hishmianu elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shamo echad L'shemo tiferet veliti la lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabila likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mikor habiracha merosh mikedem nesucha Sof Maseh b'machshvat chila lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabila mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzi mitocha hafecha rav lach shevet B'yamek habacha v'hu yachamo alaychem la lecha dodi lekrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabila. We rise as we turn to the last stanza of Lecha Dodi, page 25. Bo'i v'shalom materet bala Gam besimcha uvetzala tochem munei am segula bo'i chala lecha dodi lekrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabila. You may be seated. We continue page 27. Tina, would you lead us, please? Psalm 92.
Okay, Psalm 92, the song of the day of Shabbat. It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name, Most High, to proclaim your law at daybreak and your faithfulness each night.
Finger the lute like the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up.
You gladden me with your deed, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork.
How wonderful are your works, Adonai, how subtle your designs.
The arrogant do not understand, the fool does not comprehend this. The wicked flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms, only to be destroyed forever.
But you, Adonai, are exalted for all time.
Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered.
As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil.
As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen and hear.
Righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai, that they flourish in our God's courtyards.
In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw.
Tzadika tamar yifrach ki erez balvanan yiske shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yeyu le'agid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 29, Psalm 93. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you are enthroned, you are eternal.
The rivers rise up, Adonai, the rivers raise up their
In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. So again, thank you for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat tonight. There's a couple verses in this week's Torah portion, not so, that is so recognizable that everybody knows it. And it's just so interesting to see how this actually fits within the text of the Torah and then how we use it today. So I start by making a distinction between how Judaism expresses itself in prayer and communication with God, as opposed to say Catholicism. Okay, and so I guess I would probably guess the majority, after some coaxing, would say that Judaism does not employ an intermediary between us and God, whereas I think Catholicism does. Not right or wrong, not just different. I would extend this thought and imagine that most of you would also say that this was always the case, that Jews prayed to God directly without the need of an agent of divine delivery. But the fact of the matter is that was not always the case. Even the Torah tells us that this is not the case. Leviticus and parts of Numbers, including our own portion this week, details all of the duties of the priests and Levites in regards to their offering sacrifices for the regular Israelites who cannot do it for themselves. Since the temple was destroyed, the function of this vast group of intermediaries was simply eliminated. We could not offer sacrifices after the temple was destroyed, so what purpose was there for the priests? Rabbinic Judaism felt that we should remember in some way the hereditary nature of the priest, if only nostalgically in several ways. First, we reserve, in more traditional synagogues, we reserve the first two aliyot for the reading of the Torah for the Kohen or priest. In Orthodox and a little less than half of conservative synagogues, including ours, this remains the tradition today, though since the pandemic we haven't really had much of a Torah service. Tomorrow we will not follow that custom. Priests are not allowed into a cemetery except to bury those that they are obligated to mourn. There are a few marriage prohibitions for the Kohen, but these are mostly ignored today in all but Orthodoxy. The last remnant observance for the priest is detailed in our Torah portion, Naso. In Numbers 6:22, it reads as follows. Vayedaber Adonai Moshe lemor, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Daber el Aharon v'el banav lemor, speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, Ko tvarachu et bnei Yisrael amor lahem. Thus shall you bless the people of Israel, saying to them, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may the Lord bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, may the Lord cause the Spirit to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord turn his Spirit unto you and grant you peace. And then it finishes with, V'samu et shemi al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avarachem. And they shall put my name upon the people of Israel, and I will bless them. So these words are really recognizable. You hear it and you think, well, where have I heard that before? We hear it in many places. But these words were reserved for the priests as well, but only in a very limited and totally spiritual way. In one of the three closing brachot, or blessings of the Amidah prayer, this threefold blessing is found and is only recited during a full repetition of the Amidah for Musaf, which we hardly ever do, so we never hear it. Usually the person leading services says these words, but on very special times of the Jewish year, these remnants of the ancient holy priests remove their shoes. Yep, people in the bima are not supposed to wear shoes. Have their hands washed by the remnant of the Levites and ascend the bima. Then they take their talitot and extend it over their heads, holding it up in a very unique and special way. And we all recognize this from where? From Star Trek, of course. And of course, the story is that the person of Spock in Star Trek, Leonard Nimoy, he was not only Jewish, but he was a Kohen. And when in his youth would go under his father's talit and watch him make this special sign. So when it came time to make his character of Spock unique, the only thing he could think of was this hand sign. And so it became incorporated into the Star Trek lingo as the live long and prosper sign. Growing up and it's very hard to do unless you got to be really coordinated. Growing up in an Orthodox shul in Baltimore, I still remember going to services on the high holidays and watching, after the traditional selling of the aliyot, those Kohanim go up before the ark, extend their talitot over their heads. At this point, my cousin and I, who went to every high holiday service together till I was late teens, almost on cue would turn around and act one looking in would see as totally disrespectful, so as not to see the Kohanim say the special blessing. One is not allowed to look at the Kohen during this holy rite. If you look around, people that I went to shul with, they'd be holding their books in front of them or cover themselves with their own talitot to prevent them from looking at the priests. And I can still hear that tune that only the Kohanim sang on this special occasion. I won't share that with you. I was always enthralled with this procedure and would look forward to it with anticipation because it was just so odd and so interesting and awe-inspiring, actually. It was always a highlight of the services, like the shofar, but more mysterious. When I moved to Salt Lake, I was really disappointed that in liberal Judaism, for the most part, did away with this awesome service, so filled with meaning and nostalgia. Then I went to Israel for my third year of rabbinical school, and I found a very different custom. There, the priestly blessing is performed every day of the year, 365 days a year. And I have to tell you, the first 30 times I witnessed this procedure was special, but by the second month in Israel, it had grown old and stale. One thing we got right in the diaspora, we don't wear a good thing out too quickly. But we say the priestly blessing at other times as well, and not necessarily by the Kohanim. First of all, when the Amidah is repeated, whoever is leading this service, the Kohen, Levite, or Israelite, recites this. On Friday nights, when we used to have a lot of kids here, I don't know if any of you remember, I used to bring them all up on the bima, and I used to recite this blessing to them. In remembrance of what I used to do with my own kids, it's traditional for parents to recite that prayer to their children on Friday nights. And that's probably where you've also heard me say at the Joy Life Shabbat when we're out in the Sukkah. I bring all the survivors of breast cancer up and I recite that blessing. It has so many uses. Rabbi Joshua Heller, who's the rabbi at B'nai Torah, has been there for decades, says the role and responsibility of those giving the blessing is clear. However, what is the responsibility of those who receive the blessing? Must they be present to receive it? What about those who are out in the fields and are not able to make it into synagogue at all? The Talmud presents an unexpected conclusion. Those who are behind the priests, even if they are within the precinct of the synagogue, do not receive the benefit of the blessing, while paradoxically those who are out in the fields, out of earshot, perhaps not even aware that they are being blessed, enjoy its full effect. It would be an undue hardship for those toiling in the fields to come all the way into town to hear the blessing and then return to their work. And they are regarded as anisi, blameless due to forces beyond their control. Even an iron curtain would not separate the path of divine blessing. In contrast, those who are in the city, or indeed in the synagogue, and do not trouble themselves to come for just a few minutes to participate, do not receive the benefit of the doubt. The sages realized the significance of this teaching, applying it to those who could not reach the synagogue for other types of worship as well. But in fact, it has even broader implications in our own day. We live in an era of specialization in which anything from financial management to cooking to childbirth can be outsourced. While there are certainly many times when a professional or expert or helping hand is appropriate and even essential, there is a danger in applying this instinct too broadly in the realm of religious life as well. Sometimes the desire for surrogacy is relatively innocuous. Often I'm approached by those who ask if I can pray for the recovery of someone who is ill. Rabbi, can you make a mishaberach for so-and-so? I know you have no idea who they are, but I don't really get to synagogue often, and you know how to do it. Always out of sensitivity, I take the name and add it without comment. I wish sometimes that I could muster the gumption to insist, of course I'll pray for so-and-so, but it would be so much more meaningful if you, as someone who cares so deeply, could be present to pray as well. It happens on a more troubling level when institutions or groups offer dispensations to avoid Jewish responsibility or involvement in exchange for financial support. For example, there are a number of people that offer a Kaddish service in exchange for a contribution. A suitably pious surrogate, perhaps even an inauthentic Jewish costume, will say a memorial prayer daily for the deceased loved one. Perhaps it is effective fundraising, but it sends an unfortunate message that it is appropriate to rely on others to discharge our own religious obligations and negates the role that average Jews can and must play in their own religious lives. Of course, there is a reason why this approach is so appealing. There are those who have fallen so much out of touch with even the most basic Jewish ritual and practice that they feel like their ancestors who toiled in the fields with blessings totally beyond their grasp and cannot imagine coming in. Most of us, though, are like the city dwellers who are obligated to come and be in front of the priests as they offer their blessing. We may rely on religious leaders to create ritual experiences for us to embrace, but we cannot live vicariously through those leaders. Despite the urge to let others be Jewish on our behalf, we must be physically and spiritually present to experience the full blessing of God's presence, of God's face. Shabbat Shalom. Continue our service, page 39a, with Ma'ariv. Please rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Avoed. You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and light, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzevaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. Umahavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch, aleinu le'lam voed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari Varavim, page 40. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta, Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadita, al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu uvekumenu nesiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam vohed ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu Uvaim nege yomam v'layla v'yavatcha tasi mimenu la'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol v'v'cho v'cho nafshecha v'cho me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ho'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al vavecha v'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shachpecha v'kmecha ukshartam yota yadecha v'hayu latotafot b'neinecha uchtabtam nam zuzot beitecha uv'isharecha v'haya'im shamo tishma'u. למען ירבו ימיכם וימינכם האדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לבטח לתת להם כי מי השמר מאוד. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta lehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdehem ladoratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakana petil techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit Oritem oto, uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai va'asitem otam, v'lo tatu racharel v'avachem liacharei nechem, asher tem zonim achareihem, leman dizgaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kadoshim leloechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etachem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Page 43a. This is our enduring affirmation, binding on us that Adonai is our God, and there is none other, and we, Israel, are God's people. God is our sovereign, redeeming us from earthly rulers, delivering us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgment upon our oppressors, and just retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding and marvels beyond all reckoning. God places us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, and leads us past the false altars of our enemies, exalting us above all those who hate us. Adonai avenged us with miracles before Pharaoh offered signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God brought Israel from its midst to lasting freedom and led them through the divided water of the Sea of Reeds. As their pursuers and enemies drowned in the depths, God's children beheld the power of the divine. They praised and acknowledged God's name. Page 44. U'malchuto b'ratzon ki b'alehem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael neshira b'simcha rabba v'yameru chulam mi chamaocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamaocha nedor b'kodesh nora tehilot o seifele malchutecha ra'u v'necha bokeyam lifnei Moshe zeli anu v'yameru Adonai imloch leolam vo'ed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov u'galod chazak mimenu baruch et Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. Ushmotzeitenu vein l'chaim shlameta v'yad olam u'fosenu nuskat shlemecha baruch et Adonai aporet sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael olam oti leolam v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat v'tam barit olam Uvayom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat v'yinafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. We now pray the Friday night silent Amidah, pages 47 through 52. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atah melech adon lechol shalom. Ki atah melech adon lechol shalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol et uv'chol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We remain standing as the ark is open. Page 56 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol l'teit gedula liotzer b'reishit shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishmachot hadama shelo samchalkenu kahem goraleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Lefnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yosei haaretz u'moshev yikaro b'shamayim imal u'shchinatu zo b'gavei meromim hu Eloheinu einod Emet Malkeinu Evazulato Kakatu Betorato Viadat Hayom Vashivota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Elohim Bashamayim Mimahal V'yal haaretz mitachat Ein hod, al ken, v'lachad Elohim, v'reirav mehem, v'tivecha duzacha, al kituli min haaretz. Gagadu b'toratecha, Adonai loch le'lam voed, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shamo echad. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for Oscar Ehrlich, Stefan Ensler, Jerome L. Berlin, Morris Fleischman, Joan Empel Rosenblum, Eva Ehrlich, Richard Clayman, Phil H. Lipman, Randolph A. London, J.E. Plotka, Sarah Pia Shamaria, Myrtle Cohen, Emily Franco, Ruben Piha, Mildred Shepard, Matilda Habib Franco, Hanula Israel, Leon Kermish, and Sidney Martin. Those observing the yard site and those who mourn, please rise and join me, page 58, for the Kaddish Kadom, Kaddish Hadom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah b'yoma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agalav izman kariv yimaru amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei d'Kudisha barichu Leilam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yoma v'imaru amen Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru amen Oseh shalom b'mirmav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru amen. You may be seated. Thank you for joining me for Kabbalat Shabbat. It's really nice to have a few more people here. It's great. Services will continue tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. And I invite you all to come for the baby naming that we will have tomorrow morning for Tara and Tyler, for their twin girls. They wanted to do this before I retired, so we're going to do it tomorrow. Really, we would love for there to be a lot of people here, because we're going to do a full Torah service, and we'll be able to bless those darling little girls. Tomorrow evening at 8:30 p.m., the Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah will meet for its last time after a 4-year run. There will be a 2.0 that will start with the first Saturday night in July, and Charles Barron will be leading this once a month Havdalah from that point on. There will not be services this Monday and Thursday, as I will be out of town. And I think that's about it. We do have, it's a couple weeks off, but we do have an unveiling for Terry Aronoff at 10 a.m. on June 30th. I will be convening a Beit Din also on June 30th for conversion of either 3 or 4 people. I'm not really sure. So that's pretty exciting. And I think that's the. Barbara, did you need to add anything? I said it all. Okay, well, hardly, but anyway, with that, we will go ahead and conclude our service, page 211. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora Vehu aya, vehu hove, vehu yeh betifara, vehu yeh betifara, vehu echad v'yein sheni, laham shelo lehachbira, beli reshit, beli tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, Vehu Eli v'chayo Ali v'tzor chevlim b'yetzara Vehu nisi umanosli menat kosi b'yom mekra menat kosi b'yom mekra Biyado avkid ruchi biyet isham v'yaira v'im ruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo ira Adonai li v'lo ira Shabbat shalom.